Hello everybody, it's Donna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is just going to be hopefully a quick little video to show how I kept an inventory or organized the supplies when I first started, when I first signed up as a Stampin' Up demonstrator. So this is really geared towards Stampin' Up demonstrators, but if you are an avid crafter and purchase a lot of our products, especially the ink pads and the cardstock, then you might find this video useful. When I first started, I didn't know all the colors that Stampin' Up had. I didn't really understand how it all worked. So what I did was, well, actually backtrack a little bit. I also couldn't afford to buy every color of ink, every color cardstock that they had available all at one time, and it was getting confusing as to what I ordered and what I didn't. So what I came up with was I made these are coin pockets. They're 2 inch by 2 inch, and I know they're popular. I know a lot of people use them. And I stamped out on a 2 inch square, or roughly a 2 inch square, every time I got ink, I would stamp it out. Now I had these done up in advance, so I could tell that if I didn't have the color stamped on there, that I didn't own that ink pad. That's one of the ways I could take care of it. Now these are actually out of order right this second because I've been playing around with them. But that's how I did that. Then when it came to the stamping blends, it was the same thing. I bought them whenever I had extra money. I would simply just put the two colors on one of these little swatches and I would put it in. And again, I did them up in advance, so I already had the label ready. So I could tell that if I didn't have the color on it, then I know I didn't own it. And then with the cardstock, I did the same thing with them, only I usually bought all the colors for each grouping, like neutrals and brights all at one time. So I would have enough to finish off the whole collection on one order. Now with these ones, why I did it like this, not just so I could keep track of my inventory, but also so I could see the colors, so I could see what I wanted to put together with other colors. So I could pull out one and put it on top and see if it would match okay. Or if I had some other different brand that I wanted to match up, this made it really handy for me to do it. Now this is great. I also actually had pockets at the back that were like photo album pages that I used to put some of the embellishments in, but I just found they kept falling out, so I stopped doing that. So I just have this, and this hangs on my desk just like that in front of me. And I still use it, even though now I'm much more familiar with the colors, but I do use it a lot. Now we're coming out with the new catalogs coming out in May, so that I know the ink colors are going to change. So we're going to, I don't know if everybody might not know this, but we have 5 ink colors that are new every year, and we keep them for 2 years. So 5 of them will disappear every year, and then we'll get 5 new ones. So this year we're going to be giving up the 2019-2021 colors, which is Seaside Spray, Rococo Rose, Pretty Peacock, Purple Posy, and Terracotta Tile. And then we'll bring in another 5. However, I find this is not cumbersome. It's great, but I know some of them are missing and some of them might be slightly outdated, and because I'm getting ready to update it with the new colors, I decided on something that's a little bit different that might work for other people, not just myself, and it will take up less pages than this. And this is what I decided to do. I printed off, let me put that off to the side. In Excel, I printed off these sheets, and I put them with our groupings because we have neutrals, brights, subtles, and regals, and then the 2 ink colors. And I just printed this off in Excel. I put neutrals were all on one card, and then the brights and the others on the other ones. But I did it in a way that I added these little blocks here. And these little blocks, this block here means I have the Stampin' Right marker, and this block here, if it's colored in, means that I own the blends. Now, we don't produce the blends for every single one, so if it says NA, it means it's just not available right now. However, I did that in pencil because sometimes we do bring out the blends at another time. Okay, for instance, Melon Mambo, which one did they just bring out last year? In the new catalog last year, they brought out Melon Mambo in the dark and light stamping blend last year, but I'd never noticed that, so I actually just got this one. And I realized that when I was doing this that I didn't have it. So what I did, after I did that, I cut these out using a die. Now, if you want to do the same thing, you don't really need the die. You could just cut them out into a 2 inch square. But I also use the scallop square to cut one out of the coordinating cardstock. And then I glued the white piece on top. So everything is actually right there all in one. So I don't have to flip through all the pages. It's just one piece of paper for every color. And it clearly tells me whether I have the Stampin' Right marker, whether I have the blend, the ink pad, and the cardstock. And it shows me all the colors. Because we all know that it's not going to be perfectly the same. Just because of the chemical makeup of whatever, however they have to produce the product. But that way everything's together. And I can still take it and put it with and see if the colors will go great together. Okay, so I've done most of mine already, as you can see, and I'm almost ready to take the old ones out and put these ones in. You could also make them slightly bigger and punch holes. I was actually thinking of doing that, and then just have them on a ring so that they would hang and just separate. You don't really need to have them in a book. If I was to do that, I would make them slightly bigger than this, just so that when the ring's not going to interfere with anything that's on there. Now this stamp is just a really old stamp that I got again when I first became a demonstrator, and I always just keep using it. But you can use any stamp that's solid that you like, right? And I keep this stamp just in I have a drawer for stamps that I may have used and not put back. So I just keep that in there because I know I use it quite a bit. I don't even remember which one it came from, but it was a Christmas one a couple of years ago. Okay, so how I did it was I just took this sheet after I printed it off, and I did print this off on cardstock. I have a laser. I also have an inkjet, but I used my laser for this because it's cheaper for me to run my laser than my inkjet. And I know that if I use a manual feed, this goes through it fine. Okay, so now I'm working on my neutrals. Now I do have our storage solution things where I keep all my inks. I can't show that to you because it's off to the side, but I am going to start, and I'm going to show you what I did, but then I'm going to go off and do them on my own, and then I'll come back and show you it in my pockets. So this one is Mary Merlot. I just stamped it on there. I would stamp the whole page, and then I would separate them. Then it stamped so great. Then I would separate them, and using one of the the layering squares framelit dies. I'm using I believe it's the fifth largest plain square to cut this out. So these outside lines aren't in there. But again, you can just use your paper trimmer and cut them out. If I can find out how I can put this up as a download, I will have it available as a download, but I'm not really sure. I do have a blog, but I'm not great with blogs, so we'll see if I can figure that out or not. And then I would cut out the actual piece of cardstock out of the scallop one, which I've already done. So there's the matching scallop one. Now to figure out if they had the coordinating color, I usually just use the magazine or their catalog. This is the Stampin' Right marker. I just put the little color in there because I know I have all the markers. And I do not believe Mary Merlot is available in a stamping blends. But we will take a quick look. So in their catalog, now this is the current catalog. If I can remember what page, probably can't, but all the colors are on page 142 and 143, and I generally would actually store them in the same way that they're stored here. I also have cards made up for these. I just haven't done them the basic, like the black and the white. Also, just while we're talking about the cardstock side of it, I store my cardstock in these little pockets. I think I got them off of Amazon because one full package of the cardstock will fit in these, and then I store them in a plastic hanging file folder that I have I got from Staples, and it's totally portable, so if I wanted to bring it to my trailer or go somewhere with it, I could. I don't normally because it's pretty heavy. It holds all of the collections, but it doesn't hold the in color collections. It's just not big enough for me to put the in color in them. So the in color I actually keep in the same folders, but in my desk drawer so that they're closer to me. Because generally I will try to use those a little bit more. I even put all the scraps in there, and then I also put any other DSP that matches I put in there as well. Okay, so I'm going to go off and I'm going to stamp these all out, get them all die cut out, and glue them onto my cardstock, and I'll be back to show you the finished product. Okay, so I'm coming down to the home stretch on the neutrals. I just have to finish off gluing down these last two that I have, the Mossy Meadow and the Night of Navy. I decided that, same with my original book, I've had like at the beginning of all of them I had what it was, so I did the same thing, and I'm just using the same template. I just made up, took away anything I didn't need, so it just said neutrals rather than using my label maker for it. I just found this way everything kind of matched together. Kind of strange, but that's the way it is. And I also backed it with black, just to make it, again, just to make it look appealing. I'm thinking you can, if you're going to craft shows, I know people aren't doing that right now. I know I'm not. This would be a great, well, I brought it before to craft shows and that, to show the colors. I actually used to cut out little DSP samples and stick them in my book as well, but this time that was just a bit too insane to go to that degree. So if people wanted to see the DSP, I would just use the full-size samples. Now I did end up, I'm just going to let that one dry for a second, I did end up with extra ones of these, which is perfect. I'm just going to put those away, because obviously I condensed it all into one little square, so it worked out nicely. Okay, so there's my neutrals done. I'm going to bring in my folder where I put all the other ones already in. So they look so pretty like that too. So the neutrals are here. I'm doing them the same order that I did that the catalog is in, so that I can find them. And that just makes sense. This is also how I file them away in my filing cabinet, is in the same order. Now the only drawback with this, I did consider putting the codes for ordering on the actual cards, but there'd be so many of them for the blends, for the Stampin' Up marker, for the ink pad, for the cardstock. I just felt that wouldn't be realistic for me to do that. So what I did, I came up with something else instead, which I'll show you in 2 seconds. Just makes it easier for ordering if I have the actual number. So they're all in there. So what I did was I took from the catalog the color collection chart, and I just laminated it because it has all the codes for everything in there. So I just laminated it back to back. I also took the color chart, the hex value color chart that's on the website, and laminated it. I thought that was kind of cool to have the hex numbers, even though I don't think I'll ever use them. I'm not computer geeky like that. And then I took the color comparison where you can see which colors will go with what for the ink colors that we have available as well. And I laminated that just for the ink colors. I did have one of these for the others to match them all up, but this, I really know the colors really well now, so just using the ink colors to see what goes with what is fine. Again, this is printed from my printer, so I'm not sure if it's really great representation, but this is, because it does show you all of them. So I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. They're nice and bright. They show the actual true color. They're all organized in a way that I can find it quickly. They're very easy to get in and out of the pockets, so that I can compare it to other colors if I needed to, which is generally why I did this in the first place. So that is it. I'm actually very happy. It really is really pretty, and it's actually really nice just to look at that. I think it's awesome. Again, you can make them a little bit bigger and put holes in them and have them just on a ring, not in one of these. But this works for me, and I'm quite content with that the way it is. Okay, so for those of you who are not a Stampin' Up demonstrator and are watching this and live in Canada, I just want to remind you that I do have this host code running. If you purchase the Butterfly Brilliance collection, which is available now, you will receive a PDF tutorial for 3 projects from me through email. The collection is $97 Canadian plus shipping and taxes. That's the host code you would need to use, and it will expire at the end of March. So if you're interested in this Butterfly Brilliance collection, which I did just previously do a card video on that. Actually, there's 2 on my channel showcasing that collection. Just use this host code when you check out, and I will send you a PDF tutorial for 3 projects that you can use with this collection. Okay, that's it, guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we will catch you next time. Please subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified each time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.